Season is come and gone, and this video isn't the happiest of videos. It's about the biggest disappointments. So hopefully you're watching this and you still won even though you had some of these. But first, Dustin, talk about something that makes Brent Namco personally happy.
So thank you to our sponsor, mybookie.ag. Go ahead, check them out. Click on the link in the description. Use promo code SMACK. You get a sign-up bonus. And you got playoff football coming up. And you also got the national championship game coming up as well. So get on there. They got all the lines on there ready.
Bama versus Georgia. Bama's a 3.5-point favorite. Over under 44.5. I'm kind of liking the under. Heard it here first.
There you go.
All right. First guy I want to talk about here is Mr. Matt Ryan. Last year, the MVP. This year, we didn't think he was going to necessarily perform that well. He almost had 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns in 2016. 2017, 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. 1,000 less yards, 18 less touchdowns. That's a big difference.
Not good.
So that's why, you know, people drafted him like where they were drafting Tom Brady. It didn't make sense, and that's why. So it was absolutely disappointing.
I mean, most people were expecting regression, but that was still...
Like half the touchdowns?
Yeah. Another guy that regressed and was sad because it really seemed like the arrow was pointing up for this team, but Marcus Mariota, it was not a good year for Tennessee. And you know, just another, you know, Henry was 1 year more experienced. They added Decker. I mean, it just really, you know, that offensive line looked great on paper. It just really looked like things were going to take a step forward for that Tennessee offense, but they certainly did not. I mean, he went from 26 passing touchdowns to just 13 in last season, and the only thing that kind of saved him was his rushing stats. Over 300 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns, which was nice, but he was drafted as a QB1, and he did not deliver.
Let's talk about a guy you took in the first round. End of the first round, but you were kind of happy to get him. That's Mr. Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brent Namco took Mike Evans in a couple leagues. Brent Namco's not too happy with Mike Evans. After his third year, you know, he had 12 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. Winston, they should connect more. Watch him on Hard Knocks, you're excited. He looks like a beast. And then he catches 71 balls for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. Come on, Mike Evans. I mean, he's got all the skills. He's got all the talent. I actually think he'll be a little bit of a value next year. I look at him as like where DeAndre Hopkins went in draft series, where Evans is going to end up going. And I think that might end up being a decent value. He could go early third, and I'll take him there.
Another offense that disappointed, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Doug Martin. You're not even on this list because you're not good enough to be on this list.
Terrell Pryor is next. I cannot remember a time when a receiver just tanked as bad as he did. I mean, I think there was some off-field issues going on. We don't know the whole story here on what happened, but you know, he was brought over there. They shipped their 2 receivers out of town. It really seemed like Pryor was in line for an amazing year on a, you know, passing.
It was offense. A 1-year deal, so it's a show-me deal.
It's a show-me deal, and you know, it's a team that, you know, threw for 5,000 yards year before. You got to think he's a lock for 1,000 yards if he stays healthy. But in his 9 games that he played, he only had 20 catches for 240 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, you weren't drafting him in the first round, but you did. You spent a solid draft pick on this guy, and he just tanked.
His ADP crept up to 2nd round at some points.
He was going. I mean, the excitement was there.
I owned him in 0 leagues.
I didn't own him either, but I did have Crowder, and he disappointed too. But he didn't make the list.
I want to talk about Amari Cooper. And why I want to talk about Amari Cooper is because I believe we said this, but I certainly felt this. He isn't the best wide receiver on his own team. I would rather have Crabtree than Amari Cooper. And if you take away Amari Cooper's ridiculous, like 3 touchdown, 8 billion yard game, think of this. He had 48 catches, 680 yards, and 7 touchdowns. You take away that 1 game. Oh, and by the way, he did play in 14 games. So he averaged what? Other than that, like 20 yards a game? Like, terrible. And he has the drops, blah. Blah to Amari Cooper. Crabtree, I'm all right with you going into next year.
Yeah.
I didn't own him in any leagues, but I'm still hating.
I bought low on him, and that didn't.
Can't wait for my next guy, because God, am I going to hate on him.
Dez Bryant is the next guy I want to talk about. And, you know, he was coming into this year with, you know, 2 subpar years in a row, but it was still Dez Bryant, that Cowboys offense, that offensive line. You know, Dak's 1 year more experience, so he still went, you know, as a low-end wide receiver 1, high upside RB, wide receiver 2 range. and it just wasn't good. I mean, he played all 16 games. He had 69 catches, 838 yards. He did find the end zone 6 times, but it's just at this point, you know, do you even draft Dez Bryant as a wide receiver 2 next year? I mean, I don't know if he. I love Dez. I don't know if he makes the top 20. I mean, I just don't know.
He's gonna be in our top 20.
It's 3 bad years in a row.
He's gonna be in our top 20.
We'll see.
If I have something to do with it, he's gonna be in our top 20.
I'm just saying, once you start putting those names in, it's gonna be like, yeah.
I take Keenan Allen over him and whatnot.
He's gonna drop pretty quick. So 3 bad ones in a row.
Talk about 3 bad ones in a row. How about 3's never done anything in a row? Devante Parker. I am so sick of the hype on this guy. He's got all the tools. First round pedigree. He's gonna be awesome. He just needs to learn the playbook. Again, he went crazy. He was going to like pick 100, and then towards the end of the draft season, he started creeping up. 8th round, 7th round, 6th round, 5th round. People are going nuts for this guy. Ooh, Jay Cutler's there now. He can throw the deep ball. They're gonna love him. He is terrible. He might have the skills, but every report that I've seen and heard is, and I'm sorry to Mama Parker, but he's got like mental issues apparently. He's kind of like a pain in the butt, I guess, and doesn't really care about the playbook or plays. And you know what? That is a big part of this. So hopefully he gets his head on straight. Hopefully it works out. But guess what, buddy? You're not on my team anymore. So I've drafted you a sleeper for 3 years in a row and held on to you, and you haven't done anything because you're terrible.
Talent can only take you so far.
I mean, every year I'm like, I got him. Oh, God. Well, I have to get him this year because I gambled on him last year. I have to get him this year because I gambled on him last too. So I'm not doing it. So you better not blow up next year.
And before we get a lot of comments about some guys that aren't on this list, we don't do guys that got hurt.
Yeah, Odell's not on here.
Yeah, we don't.
David Johnson, I get it.
And we also didn't do T.Y. or Jordy on this list because they were bad because their quarterbacks got hurt. So that's why they're not on this list. You can
complain about Jordy, though. That Jordy, man.
That was terrible.
That was weird.
That was weird. DeMarco Murray's my next guy. Again, that Tennessee offense, huge disappointment this year. But Murray, I mean, he only played in 13 games, but he didn't even total 1,000 total yards. Last year, he rushed for almost 1,300. And it's, you know, obviously we did think that Henry was going to factor in a little bit more this year. And he did. And Henry, you know, stats-wise, outplayed Murray. So if they're both still there next year, it's just going to be a mess again. But Murray was getting drafted at the tail end of the 1st round in most leagues, right at the beginning of the 2nd. And yeah, it just did not work out. That Tennessee offense in general, big disappointment.
Dustin, I got your boy next. What did you always do when this guy did anything? Crowell. You'd go, caca, and you'd run around the room flapping your arms like a maniac.
That never happened.
Did that all the time.
It's such a weird thing to say.
I don't know what pops into my head, but I think Crowell thinking Dustin go, caca, and running around the room like a maniac, because that's what he does. You know what? I did like Duke Johnson, though. Duke Johnson did well. You know why Crowell didn't do as well? 2 years ago, he had like 1 monster game. So think of a Cooper. He had 1 monster game. Other than that, he did crap. So for that, you were a little worried about his upside. But we heard all off seasons how good the offensive line is for the Browns. It's the best offensive line. That's where they put their money. They're actually going to be pretty good this year. It's going to be a surprise. Crowell's going to get the rock 100 times and be really well. Well, guess what? When you lose every game and you're terrible and you're behind every single game, they're going to put in the running back that can catch the ball in the backfield, and that was Duke Johnson. But guess what? They're going to be terrible again next year. Do not, I repeat, do not draft Crowell thinking of a, kick Crowell! Bounce back.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's so what you do.
Joe Mixon.
You do it every time.
Is the
so
last
weird.
guy I'm going to talk about. And you know, when you look at the rookies this year, most of them that were drafted fairly high played pretty well. And you know, Cook got hurt obviously, but Mixon was really one of the only ones that got drafted early that really didn't get you all that excited really at any point in the year. I mean, it just took them so long to go to Mixon and start feeding him the rock, and then he got injured a little bit, but you know, found the end zone 4 times, under 1,000 yards, but you know, you got to think heading into next year, there's going to be a lot of hype around him, and there
I like
should
him next
be.
year.
There should be.
Do you like him next year?
Yeah.
Do you like him as much as your boy Crowell?
He's not my boy.
He's still your boy.
He is not my boy.
You've actually never liked Crowell.
Yeah, Danny Woodhead is my boy. So that's our list of disappointments. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Subscribe to our videos if you haven't already. Check out mybookie.ag. We will be shooting a lot of off-season videos like always, so be sure to check
Leave any comments of any off-season videos you want to see. And if this gets 500 likes, I will let Dustin smack me in the face as hard as he can.
I like that.
Down to 500.
I like it.